It's episode 24 of the Women of Wrestling podcast here on ringbellsonline.com. As always, I am your host, Irish Stu Allen, here alongside my colleague in crime, Freaky Lee Burton. And, we make a good tag team, but not half as good as the tag team we have in prospect here today.
No, this is a proper tag team that we're going to be talking to. Not together, in my tab, but separately.
Yes, we are going to speak to Rachel and Jessica's excellent tag team. And we're going to start off speaking to Jessica James.
Yeah, and then later on we're going to be speaking to Rachel Summerlyn as well. So we'll be able to... There'll be some crossover of questions, I'm sure, but I think we're going to get some pretty unique information from both of them.
Yeah, and the reason why we've got these two ladies on is because they are, they're the current Anarchy Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champions. But this weekend, Anarchy Championship Wrestling presents its third annual Queen of Queens tournament in Live Oak, Texas.
Yeah, there's a review of last year's tournament on the website at the moment, so you can have a look at that one. It should still be on the front page. If not, it's just on the second page. So have a look at that. It was a great tournament, and it's really worth your money to buy.
Yeah, check it out. It's Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock.
Not a huge amount more that we need to say, really. Let's just get on with the interviews. Let's do this.
Okay, sounds like a plan to me. We will disappear swiftly, and we will be back with Jessica James. Okay, we are back then with the first of our two guests this evening, one half of Rachel and Jessica's excellent tag team, and also the current American Joshi champion in Anarchy Championship Wrestling. We're talking about Jessica James. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Hello.
Hi. We decided we wanted to get a bit of an Anarchy Championship Wrestling themed show, with it being the American Joshi Queen of Queens tournament coming up this weekend, and
excellent.
Excellent, in fact. And we're going to get Rachel on later on, just to run down the show and so on. But we figured we'd get you on as well because you had a pretty spectacular tournament last year, coming in as a bit of a last-minute replacement, and the entire tournament was basically based around you. Then, were you literally just called on the day?
Yeah, it was a total surprise to me. I actually was scheduled to wrestle Robert Evans. And so I had been preparing for that match. He's a really tall, slippery guy. So I knew I was going to have my handfuls, with that guy. So I was prepared for that. And then I got there and I was all excited, to see all the girls. Hey, what's up? What's going on, guys? And Rachel came over. She was like, we have a slight change of plans. I was like, okay, what's the change? You're wrestling 3 times. Hopefully. I mean, she's like, you're wrestling in the tournament. Hopefully you're wrestling 3 times. Do a good job. I hope I see you in there, because who knows how it was all going to go down. But at first I thought she was joking,
I'm
but
sure you did.
It was not a joke. I was like, oh no, I didn't even bring I brought my stuff because I drove and my car doubles as a closet. So luckily I had everything in there that I needed, But I definitely got a little nervous. I'll be honest. I was like, what? What? And then I saw Sarah Del Rey there, who I'd wrestled once already and had no memory of the end of the match, except for waking up in the ring and Rachel standing over me. Are you okay? Did I win? No, I didn't win. Anyway, so I saw her, and then I saw, and then Portia was there, and Portia's always got a serious attitude problem. And Athena, she likes to beat me up a lot every time we encounter each other. However it ends, definitely I was getting my butt kicked during the match, That happens regardless.
Indeed. And I mean, obviously the big twist at the end, but before we even get there, one of the most memorable moments of last year's tournament was you and Sarah Del Rey, where you made her tap out. Would that be one of your sort of career highlights to date?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I had wrestled Sarah 1 time before, and I remember, getting lots of kicks in the face region, I believe. I think that happened a lot. I remember getting kicked a lot, just being kicked a lot and just being like, needing to and I've been telling people since that match, I'm bringing back the duck, dodge, and dash, because that's kind of all you can do, really, avoid the blow until I can make, 50 to 80 of my own little blows, because it takes that many to knock someone like Sarah Del Rey down, if you even keep count. So, really in the match, it really was the same way. She was just kicking my ass, pardon my language, And that's what was going on, and there wasn't like a strategy that I had, because I didn't even know I was going to be wrestling. And then Rachel tells me I'm going to be wrestling, and the first round is me versus Sarah Del Rey, for crying out loud, Actually, I was talking about it on camera backstage, and she just stepped right in front of the camera and just got right up close to me, so I could see that I had to lean all the way back to look up at her, just so I would know, what I was about to have to deal with. And basically, it came down to clinging on for your dear life, and that's what I did, and it actually worked. So that's what I think. When I encounter someone like that in the future, holding on for dear life, that's the only way to go. As far as because it worked. And no one was more shocked than I am. The crowd was obviously very shocked by it. I could tell by their reaction; they couldn't believe their eyes and what they just saw. And the ref actually had to no, you won, let go, because I was not going to let go. You know what I mean? Because it's like catching hold of a tiger with its tail. The other hand has teeth.
Fair point. I seem to remember actually just before you wrestled Sarah Del Rey the first time, Portia Perez did a promo with you where she gave you advice as to how to best deal with Sarah Del Rey, and I think she suggested that you should block her kicks with your face. Bad idea.
Yeah, bad idea. She seemed to. I know that I seem to be the most. I know that what Portia was doing was thinking, oh, Jessica's naive and she'll fall for anything. So she put that out there. Just so that we're all clear here, I had no intention of blocking Sarah Del Rey's foot with my face.
You don't have a choice of the matter, yeah.
But I was totally contented to let Portia. I'll be honest. At some points there, I thought, when I've seen Portia talk to people before, she was way nastier, because that seems to be, her way or whatever. So I was surprised. I was kind of enjoying our little banter there. I was surprised at how calm she seemed, and how, if she weren't evil incarnate, we might be friends in a different life. You know what I mean? Something like that. The thing that really gave it away for me, though, is that maybe she wasn't being quite so truthful with me, is that she didn't stay to play. I was trying to play this game that you need two people for, and I asked her to stay and play the game with me, and she was blew me off and had something to do. And no, a friend wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Plus, Rachel later, I told her what Portia had told me because I had written it all down, and Rachel was like, no, don't listen to any of that. Throw all that away. That's ridiculous.
Indeed.
So, always looking out for me.
It's interesting. We can talk about the stuff that you've been doing in ACW with some sort of knowledge because, ACW puts a good amount of stuff out there on YouTube, and obviously the videos you can buy through the website and through Smart Mark Video and so on. But we were doing some research on your career before we got you on, or we were trying to anyway, and before we started to record, you sort of said to us that you don't really know much about the internet, or you don't really go on the internet much, and I think that's very well sort of the case, because there's not a lot about you online as far as prior to Anarchy Championship Wrestling. We do know that you started in 2004.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Damn, that's a long time ago. Yeah, that sounds right. I don't, again, with dates and stuff, I couldn't even tell you when my debut match was. I know it was in Louisiana at a kids' summer camp, and it was a last-second thing, someone didn't show up or something like that, so they needed someone who could wrestle, and I had been training, not very long, but it was something that I discovered, more in hindsight as I was going, that because I'm a girl and I'm a small girl, I was kind of tossed out there probably way before any official training was complete, and I would say that even though that's kind of how I got into wrestling, that's a bad idea. That I don't think people should be here, let me teach you how to protect yourself. Oh, okay, that's it. Let's throw you in there. I don't know that that's necessarily the best way to go. That's kind of how it happened with me. But I did start training at PCW in Arlington, which no longer runs. They ran for a really long time. They had a show every Friday and Saturday every week, and it was a really good setup, really loyal fans and all that. I'd actually, to be totally honest here, I'd actually never seen wrestling on TV.
It's not?
Until I saw, right. until I saw a live wrestling show at PCW. I'd never seen it before, and I remember because my family, my dad's a big Chuck Norris guy, so I was in martial arts since I was, walking. My brother and I and my dad, he had us in martial arts since we could walk, so I did that for years and years, and I did weapons training and all kinds of stuff. So we never saw wrestling on TV. We always had, Bruce Lee on TV, or Chuck Norris, or Van Damme, or something like that's what we were watching. I never, knew who Hulk Hogan was, because how could you not know who he was? But I didn't know, about this phenomenon called wrestling. So I saw this show at PCW, and I remember, somebody coming out and everyone in the crowd next to me freaking out and being all excited about it. And then the other guy came out, and everybody was booing and cussing and throwing their stuff at him. And I thought, wow, this is awesome. You're just allowed to say and do whatever you want. And, how have I not been involved with this since now? So I just started harassing someone there at that show until they started training me. And so I started doing the shows, and then PCW and I, parted ways, and I ended up in a tryout in Houston for Booker T, and he didn't have any female students at the time. And so I came down there. He had 3 girls there to try out that they had, invited from different parts of the country or what have you. And actually the other girls didn't have wrestling experience at all, so there was no one there for me to wrestle. So he put me in the ring with one of his male students. And at the time, none of the male students had ever been in the ring with a girl. So he was real nervous about it, I could tell. Also because I'm 5 feet tall, sometimes that worries people that they're going to somehow criminally injure me.
Yeah.
Yes, that's always like a concern of theirs. And the guy he put me in there with is like 6'3". So he said, you've got 4 minutes. Let me see what you have. And the other guy was really nervous, I could tell. So, I could tell that he was baby handling me. And I thought that, this isn't going to work. So, and this is what you have to do if you're a tiny person in the ring with a giant person, and you can tell that they're just not, they're not there with you. You just got to sock them once really good in the face. Really, really good. And that kind of wakes them up a little bit. So after that, Booker was just, cracking up hysterically. He thought it was hilarious that this tiny little girl was just running this guy around and just basically knocking the snot out of him, because that's really all I could do. At that point, I really wasn't trained, So he was like, this is going to be a terrible Booker T impression. I hope he never hears this, but it was like, yeah, I could work with this. That's Booker T. That's what he said. So he invited me to come move down to Houston. I was living in the Dallas-Fort Worth area at the time. To move down to Houston and be his girl student or whatever.
Were you there right at the beginning when he started PWA? When he started his training, were you there right from the beginning, essentially?
I guess I don't know officially when it was started. I only know when I came in. I know that he did have a handful of students that had come from other places. I know that his big shows that he ran consistently once a month in the Pasadena Convention Center was really big, huge, nice building. And when he would bring in, WWE and TNA talent, for the shows and whatnot. I was there since then. Definitely I worked there with him for 4 or 5 years, something like that.
To be honest with you. To be honest with you, from what you were saying earlier on, your PCW experience doesn't sound like it was, particularly helpful for you. I mean, Booker then would be the guy that you probably credit mostly for your training. Would that be fair?
Well, in PCW, there were a couple of guys that I would give credit for, BJ Turner was someone who was always there, and he taught me a lot of, he added a lot of movement to my arsenal, let's say, because I'm a small person and I had a martial art background, so he kind of helped me, because I don't see a lot of martial arts more style in wrestling, because there's a worry that it's unsafe, which is true, but whatever. But I already had the training for that, so he really helped me with that. Wally Darkman was somebody who was just always in practice and always willing to do anything that I wanted to try. Hey, can you show me how to do this? And he would always show me that. Lance Hoyt was their official trainer. he definitely was the official trainer, and he definitely, I would say, was like my introduction to there's things that you do not do, and there's things that you do. There's things that you don't say, like the protocol and things like that. Some kind of more official things that people who just get trained up, just by somebody dough blow or whatever, don't know these things, and they, end their wrestling career before it even begins because they don't know these little things that, as a wrestler you have to know. So he was really helpful for that. I would say that Booker, however, was I would credit him with my official training, like my sense of psychology and like storytelling and how I work my way around a match. Being the size and shape that I am, I never have a normal straight singles match unless I'm in the ring with somebody my own size, which never happens. So everything that I do, every opponent I have is more specific because it has to be, because they have some huge advantage on me, whether it be height or weight or reach, and those things that you have to, so Booker really helped me with that. Plus, there's always those different shades of ice cream that you run into. So if you have a whole ring full of people who are all telling you how to do something and all telling you how to do it different, it gets really confusing and, really frustrating to try and, like, narrow down what, there's not, like, an exact right or wrong. Whereas with Booker, he was really good about staying on one page all the time, that, yes, there is things that are wrong and there are things that are right, and I'm going to teach you the right way. And, like, just a lot of common sense things would come out of Booker, like, for example, like, if you don't do it well, don't do it. Such an easy common sense concept, but man, does it make a world of difference with a lot of people that I know that went there, just understanding that. And anyway, so I would say that my the organized core of my training definitely came from Booker and Sharmell as well. When I came to Booker, or even when PCW found me, it was the fact that I was a small girl willing to get beat up that had some sort of athletic training. I was always in athletics, and I was in martial arts for a long time. They were willing to train me, but they said, you're awesome in the ring, but you don't look like a girl, because I was not very aesthetically pleasing. So they chopped my hair off. My hair was past my butt, and they chopped my hair up to my shoulders. They dyed it blonde. They fake tanned me. They put me in high heels, a push-up bra, and like some slutty little number, And they were like, "See, now you look like a girl who's in wrestling." And my dad, that was a PCW's thought on it. I came home to my dad. My dad is Native American, so all growing up, he would never cut my hair, because it's a big deal for him or whatever. I came home with short blonde hair, and he was unthrilled. So Sharmell actually is the one who she put me through a Crash Diva course. She had a makeup artist come out and even attempt to put makeup on me, so I would have some kind of idea, since that was something that prior to this I had never been exposed to. I grew up with all boys in the family. There are no girls in my family, so there was no girliness already there. She had to train all of that into me, and how ironic that it would be wrestling that would bring the girl out in me, as it were. But she got me a holistic nutritionist for 6 months while I was there, so I'd have any kind of idea about how to take care of myself in that way, because, like I said, I was growing up with man goulash, which is like ramen noodles mixed in with eggs, mixed in with a can of vegetables, like that kind of stuff,
proper food.
Dinner that we would have. Yeah, exactly. Or my parents were both in the Marine Corps, so we were like, it was like, military rations is kind of how we were eating, and that's not the best way to go. So she got me the nutritionist. She bought me high heels and dresses, and she put me in those shoes, and she made me walk up and down the gym and up and down the gym and in and out of the ring and in and out of the ring, so that I wouldn't break myself, attempting to do this for any possible future scenario. When I went to TNA, she took me to the mall, which is somewhere I never go, and she spent all kinds of money trying to, like, get me some kind of something. So when I went up there, I could blend in, at least pretend that I could do the diva thing, you know what I mean? So Booker and Sharmell were definitely the ones who trained me up. I would definitely give them the credit for that.
Have you seen any of Booker's training during Tough Enough?
Booker and I have discussed the Tough Enough, and I saw the first episode, but I kind of feel like, I don't know, like, how do you talk about something where you're trying not to say anything bad? or I don't want to turn it into a joke, but it seems as though this particular season or this particular show, I don't know because I haven't seen the other seasons, of course. I also don't watch TV. I'm never on the internet, and I don't watch TV ever. So if I'm watching wrestling, it's from like a DVD or something, like a specific wrestling, something that I'm trying to watch, not just like whatever happens to be on. Not on purpose necessarily. This is just the way that it is here. So, so the Tough Enough. But, Booker says to me, like, well, they're wanting people that we can train. So if you're somebody who is already trained, there's less room to grow there, So he enjoys the trips out there. He has fun with it. I can say that. That's true.
Okay. No, we were just interested to know whether you'd seen enough of it to know whether the Booker T that was portrayed on screen was the Booker T that you knew as a trainee.
Oh, no. I don't believe that it's the same. I don't believe that it's the same. If that answers that question. At practice in gym in the practice, it's Booker's pretty old school. He's all about he doesn't like a spot fest. He doesn't like anything like that. So when you're training with Booker at the school, what he would do is he would just pick two random people and give them a time limit and say go. And then you would just go until he stopped you, like a no, stop, or more specifically, freeze this. He would say freeze this. And then he would tell you why at that moment what you did ruins the whole match and went horribly wrong. And then two more people would get in and try and make it further in than however long they made it in, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, whatever, until, it all went horribly wrong. Yeah. And that was every day. Really, that's all it was. As far as the athletic moves, he kind of left us in charge of, the rule is if you don't do it well, don't do it. So know what you can do well, and if you don't do it. And otherwise, it was only about the story and only about psychology in the ring. That's all that he cared about as far as training goes. Like, if you're an athlete, you can be taught the moves. But if you don't have that other thing, if you can't get your brain to think the right way, that's where the real challenge is. So that's what he would concentrate more on. I don't believe in Tough Enough. In Tough Enough, a lot of the people they don't really have even the basics yet.
No.
So I think they're in two different places as far as training. What they're trying to teach these people with little to no wrestling experience versus Book having a group of students who are athletes already and already have the basics down. He was trying to educate our minds wrestling wise.
I think by comparison, a lot of the stuff we saw in Tough Enough was a bit more gimmick for TV, like run the ropes for 5 minutes or, balancing the top rope whilst doing a squat and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's probably significantly changed for TV anyway.
Right.
But as far as PWA was concerned, we also noted from doing a bit of research that you were the first PWA Women's Champion. Given again that we're not entirely all that well rehearsed in Booker's PWA back in those days, who was around at the time as far as a women's division?
Well, the women's division he decided to start the women's division, and there weren't like I was his female student. There was one other girl there, Maria, or Venus, sometimes she's known as. She was there as well. They kind of decided to have a women's battle royal, an 8-woman women's battle royal for the title. So whoever won was the women's champion. So in the match we had Athena, who you know very well, Angel Blue, who we also know from ACW, Darcy, who works I believe RCW, the San Antonio area. Let's see. Claudia Del Solis. I don't know if you know who she is. She worked at ACW for a little bit. Okay, so that's Athena, Darcy, Claudia Del Solis, Angel, me. Then there was Kelly Kevin, who is not a girl, but a 6'3" man with long, perfect girl hair. So he can't beat up anyone in his own division, so he put on a dress and tried to beat up all the girls in the girls' division. That was his,
we were trying to work that one out.
Yeah, and it's really funny, too, because he is really tall and thin, and he has this, perfect girl hair. So when he comes out, people on the other side of the ring will be cheering, like, oh, this is a really cool tall girl. And then when it gets all the way over to the other side and they can see that they're cheering for a dude in a dress, they get real pissed off about it. So it's pretty funny. He even will try and pretend to be a girl, but then if you piss him off, then you can tell that the boy comes out and he starts strutting around like a man, rubbing it, just one of those guys who he just wants to take advantage of small girls in the ring. So he was in it, and Raka Khan was in it from TNA at the time. She's also very tall.
She is very tall.
Yeah, I think that I'm missing one person. I said, because I know there were 8. I can't remember who the other one would have been. I don't know. I know that us for sure. I feel like I'm leaving someone out. I feel terrible if I am, but anyway, so we had that big women's battle royal, elimination down to the last person, and I ended up winning. So I was, the first women's champion, and then after that, he just started. He would just bring girls in. Athena, started coming there more regularly, and Kevin Kelly, of course, he remained part of the women's division, even though it's totally ridiculous. And then, he would have girls come down. Awesome Kong came down one time, and Nikki Rocks came down a few times. ODB came down. We just have different girls now that the women's division was alive, he would always, have a girl match on the show. And I believe he currently no longer has a women's division. The
title is vacant at the moment.
Yes, they no longer have the women's division.
That's a bit of a pity that there's no women's division, because it sounds like there's quite a lot of names there, and there are quite a lot of names in the Texas area, and it just seems a pity that there isn't another place for you girls to wrestle.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do? Now that they don't have a women's division there, I could still train there in the gym. And just being around, Booker has been here forever, and he does, know what he's talking about. So it would be beneficial even just to be in the same gym, for whatever you might, pick up or learn while you're there. I was there for 4 or 5 years, and they don't have a women's division anymore. So I moved back to the Dallas-Fort Worth area,
Was that basically then that was when you sort of left PWA as far as a regular place to work, yeah? Right,
yeah. Well, I officially left PWA when I moved back here about a month or so ago. Because there was always also I had Lady Poison also showed up for the first time at PWA.
Yes.
And then she disappeared for a while, and then Jessica James showed up. All very coincidentally, I'm sure.
Indeed. So, well, I mean, it's a good point actually to bring that up, and that is the character of Lady Poison, because that was the big twist at the end of last year's Queen of Queens. Whenever yourself as Jessica James was unable to compete in the final place was taken by Lady Poison. Talk about the Lady Poison character. Where did that originally come from? Because you say that started in PWA.
Well, originally in PWA, there was kind of a nasty, darker tag team, that were, strong and, very dominating in the ring, but they didn't have so much direction. And Lady Poison kind of came in and became the direction for this kind of nasty little violent group. And that's kind of where it became the need for her, I guess, came up. They were a tag team. They ended up being the PWA's tag champs for a long time. And she really just acted as kind of a like someone kind of in charge to, they were kind of like Wiles guys with, hard to control. So they needed someone even scarier than them to kind of lead the way. And, I do remember at one point Lady Poison, her little group was kind of attacking the tag champs, kind of always attacking them and finding ways to screw up their matches. So one of them ended up disappearing for several months. And, of course, the audience and everyone blamed us. Like, of course, we're the usual suspects. We must have taken him or something, like kidnapping or something like that. So Booker brought in Jamie Noble and Jimmy Yang to sub in for the missing tag partner, who also happened to be brothers. This was a tag team. They were also brothers. And one of them went missing, so Booker brought in Jimmy and Jamie to kind of take his place so they could, once and for all, figure out what had happened. So they got my tag team out there, and, they were battling it out, and they lost. And I'm going to say they lost because Lady Poison wasn't out there with them, but whatever. So right there at the end, they're standing in the ring victorious, like, ha-ha, we won. Lady Poison, comes around from the back there, dragging the missing brother, across the floor with a chain. And, he just looked awful. It looked like he'd been kept in a dark, place for the whole time he'd been gone. So, she kind of more played of a mental game at PWA. She was not even concerned with winning the match. She just wanted everyone to know that she had that kind of power and would go that far. So it was she was kind of a terrorist, I guess. She would just, take things that were important from people, so that they would understand that she has that kind of control or power over them. That was her thing. She liked to exhibit control and power over her tag team and kind of order them around and make them, submit to her will, that kind of thing. And then just as she just showed up kind of out of the blue, she just disappeared too. I think that's kind of her, I don't know, I think she likes to be...
It's kind of cool that you refer to Lady Poison as her, always in the third person as well. I mean, I don't know if you'll get this reference because, you sort of said you don't necessarily watch, or you didn't usually watch a lot of wrestling, but a lot of wrestling fans, probably the best way to compare it would be to say that Lady Poison is to Jessica James what the Great Muta is to Keiji Muto. It's like a dark alter ego, I guess. Would that be fair? Would you get that? Would you know what I meant when I said that comparison?
Yeah, it's been brought to my attention, the Great Muta, before, and because she does do, at PWA, she would do the kiss and the mist, because she was kind of on the outside of the ring a lot, so she would, the mist was easier to get to people on the inside of the ring, that kind of thing, yeah, so I have heard that reference before. I could see that, and I guess it gets confusing, a little bit, so that might be why I refer to her as another person. Plus it's easier that way. Different kind of, it's easier that way, and it's a different kind of thing altogether, it's so far, from my, I don't believe that me, Jessica, when I wake up in the morning, that, you know what I mean? That's kind of a different place altogether to go to.
Yeah. Hands in the air, right? Hands in the air until someone pointed out that Lady Poison and and Jessica James were, essentially the same human being. That I even noticed. That's how much of a difference that there is between Jessica James and Lady Poison to me. That it didn't even cross my mind.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, they're very different. They're very different.
I kept punching myself in the head and going, oh my God, you're so stupid.
Well, don't feel bad. It's not just you. Let me say it that way. It wasn't just you.
There's a question for you, actually. I mean, if you had this alter ego, and obviously with Great Muta, Muto used face paints, full face paint, or we have wrestlers who've had alter egos who are who've got masks and so on. Your alter ego, I mean, the big difference is the fact that it's just all about your body movement. I mean, that's how you basically are the difference between the two people, isn't it?
Yeah, when I've and really it's funny, it's, let's see here. I have to. It's when when I've seen the footage myself. That's when kind of it became clear to me. Like other people would say, would point out differences to me, and until I actually see them for myself, which is impossible while it's happening because I am these people or whatever. It was really hard for me to tell, but like when Rachel pointed out to me, after the Joshi tournament last year, like. She's like, so did you figure it out? This big mystery? Do you know, like, maybe this is why you wake up in the morning sometimes covered in green, like the cat came out of the bag or whatever. So, it's seeing the footage. It's, like other people that are, like friends of mine, and at the point when everyone knew, okay, so at this point everybody knows that Jessica and Poison inhabit the same little body or whatever. So they would, people would come to the show and Jessica James would come out and, do her silly little, whatever she's doing or whatever. And then at some point later, Poison would show up and they'd be looking right at her and they'd still be wondering, they'd still be wondering where I am and stuff, even though they already know, even looking right at me. They still don't, it's weird. It really is. And I guess it is the movement, I guess that visually that's the most obvious difference. The movement. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's just the whole demeanor of the body. Just that's the difference. That's the bit even if you were looking at you in silhouette, you would know which one you were just from the body movement and the way you handle yourself. So I think that's a credit to you as a performer and the fact that you can sort of flick those two switches because they're pretty much opposites.
Yeah, I would say they're not. I would say they're on two far ends of the spectrum. I would even say. Because they both operate on such opposite ends of the spectrum there that they're probably both missing, neither one are probably well-rounded, because they don't have whatever other side they have. Jessica is very sometimes I get myself into trouble, I fall for things sometimes or I'm too trusting. That comes up and bites me in the butt a lot. Or I don't see danger there when there clearly is danger there. Whereas Poison, on the other end, I have to imagine is so engrossed in whatever it is that's going on in her head. Yeah, the way that she walks around is pretty noticeable. I think she's a fierce looker too. Like she just when Poison is looking at something, that's where you can tell all the attention and focus is at. I guess.
Yeah, it's like Terminator, when Arnold Schwarzenegger's character looks at something, you can sort of see the readout going on in their eyes. That's sort of the impression I get.
Yeah.
as far as Lady Poison, just to sort of finish up talking about her, could we see her anywhere else in the world of wrestling? You also do shows in Shimmer and other places. Could you sort of foresee that character being transferred to somewhere other than Anarchy Championship Wrestling at the minute?
Well, I think that for something, like Poison, how involved she is, she's such a extreme character. I think that if she were to show up somewhere else other than Anarchy, it would need to be a place that could tell the story the right way. And Anarchy, above every show that I've ever worked, is in my own opinion, miles ahead of other promotions as far as storytelling and how to portray the story and how to let you become part of the story and become involved emotionally, which I believe is the whole point. Anyways, so something like Lady Poison is perfectly partnered, is a perfect match for a promotion like ACW, because they're rich storytellers and they understand the emotional side of it and how important it is. And so if a character like Poison was to really make a showing at another federation, it'd have to be someone that, someplace that could, equally, tell the story the right way.
Yeah.
I don't believe that Poison is. I don't see her as simply just a wrestler on the roster who comes out and, like she has. There's definitely motives behind everything that she does. It seems like.
Fair enough. So I mean, is it, as far as that sort of like period of your career, sort of pre Anarchy Championship Wrestling, was PWA really the only place that you were working regularly, or did you have other things going on as well?
I had regular shows all over Texas. Like I had 3 shows close to the border, 3 different shows down there. I had some in Louisiana, that first show that I had done. And of course, and I had, all over Texas. You can find places all over Texas. So I was just wrestling wherever. And since I'm not on the internet and I'm not good at promoting myself in any way, like it's really bad. It's really sad. I've never put a video together and sent it somewhere because I don't even know how to do that. Are you kidding me?
Right.
I need to burn a DVD or get footage, or I don't even. All that just seems. It seems hard for me, even though that's silly and ridiculous. I'm sure somebody I know could help me with that if I would just ask the right people. But so really, what would happen is people had just heard of me that I was a girl wrestler who was good at it. So they would just call me, hey, do you want to work this show? And I would say, okay, and so I would just work whatever shows, every show that just called and, needed a girl wrestler, I would just go work these shows. And I accumulated a lot of experience that way as far as traveling and on the road and dealing with different kinds of bookers, different kind of promoters, and all the different kinds of things that you have to deal with, like dealing with bookers and promoters who don't pay you. Like you get there and you wrestle and it's time to pay and they're like, oh, sorry guys, we don't have it. I countered that. Or getting broken down 1,000,000 times between this city and and being stuck. That's happened lots of times. Or acquiring lots of speeding tickets because you're driving at, not that I was speeding, but if you're driving at 4 a.m. on Sunday and there's no car on the road and that cop's sitting there bored, he's going to pull you over anyway. I'm telling you, that's how it works. So I got a lot of that kind of experience, like having to deal with lots and lots of different things because I was just working kind of random shows whenever they called. PWA obviously, was a consistent, regular show I was working. PCW actually fired me, truth be told. So
really?
They had no, yeah.
What did you do?
They had no.
Or what did they think you did?
Well, basically, and I can't remember exactly how it was put to me, but it was basically like there was my presence was making someone else very unhappy and causing general problems.
Oh, really?
So in their mind, it was easier just to get rid of me because of the unhappiness I was causing to a particular person.
How can your presence upset somebody else?
Well, and like I said, I don't know if this is actually true of this other person. I just know what I was told. But this other person was the only other girl who worked in the locker room besides me.
Right.
And my thinking is, well, you need 2 girls to wrestle each other, but their thinking was, well, the one has a serious problem with you, so.
Does this other wrestler, does she still work?
Yeah, she still works, and that's why I don't know that this is actually true because, this was years ago, and since then, we have an easy understanding and a good working relationship. She is I don't know if I should say this or not. Now that I've stumbled upon this part of the conversation, I don't know if I should. At one point at PWA, I remember someone from PCW coming up and seeing the show, and they were very interested in Lady Poison because she's a very interesting character. And then a couple weeks later, their own version showed up at PCW.
Oh, really?
Yes. So.
What was the knockoff called?
I don't know what it's called. I just know that I was told, because of course I haven't seen it from my own eyes. I've seen pictures. I was told that the moveset is the same. The hair was dyed dark. she wears red, black, and green, and she uses the mist and calls it the kiss of death.
Right.
Slight
right. So I don't know, but since then, I mean, like, there's no personal whatever between us. Like I said, I don't know what was true. There could have been a completely different reason. I'd like to think that the reason wasn't that I just suck, because I don't know, if I was looking back, I'd have to say, well, that couldn't have been it. I don't think that I suck, But it was okay in hindsight. It was really good for me, not working there anymore, opened up the rest of my, wrestling career. I went on to do bigger and better things, and they don't even run anymore. So it was, in hindsight, the best thing that happened,
Yeah, Jessica James 1, PCW 0.
Well, it's just, there was a lot of good people that came out of there. A lot of really awesome workers that, I'm still friends with. A lot of people, there's a good number of ACW, roster that, worked PCW back in the day, So, they closed down. It just freed us all up for bigger and better things. So,
fair enough.
It was a really good show. At the time, if you were, I just wasn't, popular with The Office. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah. Okay, let's finish up just before we sort of go back and talk about Queen of Queens quickly, but let's take an opportunity just to talk about your tag team with Rachel. I mean, that's kind of what you're, very well known for now, Rachel and Jessica's excellent tag team. Talk to us about what makes you two tick as a team. Well,
I think a lot of it is that a lot of times, and maybe this is, maybe I don't really have enough of a broad, opinion or whatever to really be saying this, but I think that it comes down to that Rachel and I are a real tag team. We're not, wrestler A and wrestler B put together who became a tag. Like, we just, we need a tag team, so you guys can work together. We're really a tag team. We decided to be a tag team. All of our tag moves and stuff we came up with, and, we worked hard on them, and, Rachel got us some matching gear, and all this stuff, and, we travel together. We sleep in the same bed together when we're traveling. We get stuck on the road together for hours. One road trip, and I know you don't want to hear this, but, we're such a close tag team that we stopped one time at somewhere to use the bathroom because we were on a 19-hour road trip, and I shit you not, we both started our periods at the exact same time.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I know you don't want to hear that, but I'm just saying that's how close we are. That's how much of a fluid unit we are, my friend.
Oh my God!
We're on the same page, and I think also the fact that we both bring two totally separate sets of different abilities and characteristics. Rachel is very strong and very tall. So she does a lot of power, she does a lot of moves that require a lot of power that I am not doing. I do not do those moves. I am not picking somebody up and tossing them around. That's not going to happen in a match. And likewise, because I'm so small, I do a lot of high flying and a lot of running around and things like that. So the two of us together, we kind of, I believe, in my opinion, we're kind of covering the board as far as, things that can happen in the ring in the match, because one of us definitely can do it, or does it, and the two of us together, it creates an opportunity for us to experiment more. Our swing kick that we do is pretty cool, and that's her using her muscles to toss my tiny body around like a rag doll and knock somebody out. So, we find ways to make it work, and really I think it comes down to besides the moves and and our size difference and all that stuff, is really fantastic chemistry. We really are really good friends. We just have a blast together. I believe, and I don't know if this is exactly true, but I believe that the fans enjoy our matches because they're having so much fun, because they can see how much fun we're having, because we really are having that much fun.
I'm in that category, yeah.
Fun. Yeah, we really are having a ball out there. We wrestled the vampires one time, and I brought squirt guns, and we tried to fill them up with holy water. It didn't work out that way, but that's the kind that. Why not? If you're in the ring with your best friend and who definitely has your back, then you can feel more free to think outside the box and try and be creative and, do some things maybe you don't see a lot in wrestling, because we really are having a good time. We're getting beat up and all this stuff all the time, but that would be happening regardless. If we were in singles matches, it would be physically a struggle and mentally a struggle to, whoever it is that you're wrestling and all that. But together, it's easier, because, we know that we have someone out there.
Yeah. Which of you had the idea for the IHOP themed T-shirts, the International House of Pancakes?
Really, what happened was, because sometimes people will say, people who don't know, why do they call you bacon and eggs? It's, well, we dressed up like bacon and eggs for Halloween 2 years ago, and the audience started chanting bacon and eggs at us during the match. And we thought, okay, we're dressed up like bacon and eggs, so they got it, cool. And then the next show, when we came out, they're still chanting bacon and eggs, and they've just been chanting bacon and eggs at us for 2 years. So we just decided to go with it, it seemed so popular. So then the shirt, the IHOP shirts, the IHOP logo, our DVD, our best of DVD is the IHOP menu. In fact,
there you go.
And the to-go menu. Like if you look at the DVD, it's it's the IHOP to-go menu. It's awesome, and we even got little they give kids things at the restaurant to color. We even have those, except it's Rachel and I pigging out, of course, on bacon and eggs with all of our wilderness friends. So for the kiddies,
Fantastic. Lee, I know you wanted to ask a particular question about Jessica's ability to turn up at opportune moments.
Yes, yeah, it's insane. Jessica's ability to be ninja-esque. Shimmer after parties. Is where I'm talking about. It's just that, you might be at a bar and you're standing there just minding your own business and you look to your left and there's Jessica. And it's like, how did that happen? And, she just seems to be in the perfect place just when somebody's at the bar buying a round. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how to do it, but it's a skill. It's an art.
That's so funny. I have these skills in art, I guess, that I don't even know are there. I understand the ninja quality that you're talking about is because I'm small and tiny. So, if you're looking right at me, then you're looking down at me. And, say you look away for a moment, then your eye level readjusts to your own level. And you look back and you don't see me. It's because you're not looking down anymore.
She's thought this
That's how that happens.
Yeah.
And as far as the Shimmer after parties go, oh, man, I'm a person who will, if everyone around me is wasted or anywhere, coming up to that category, I will stay exactly how I am because I feel like that's the wiser thing to do. You know what I mean? A lot of the girls there, not that I don't have a good time. I don't want to make it seem that way, but I don't need necessarily lots of alcohol for me to have a good time. So when everyone else is around me stumbling around, I prefer to stay the person not stumbling. You know what I mean? So I'll have my toast with everyone or whatever, cheers, and we all get there. But past that, the rest of the night is kind of a,
the rest of the night's for dancing.
Yes, the rest of the night's for dancing or basically just finding ways to circle the room, either to meet up and talk with people I want to, or in fact, and sometimes to avoid people that I don't want to be talking to. Sometimes that happens,
Yeah, sorry about that.
So, no, not you guys. You know what I mean. Like somebody at this last Shimmer party, one of the fans was so enthusiastic about taking a picture with me that he took a picture, and then I was like, oh, thank you, no problem or whatever, and I went to leave. But he wasn't done yet, so he grabbed my arm and yanked me back over to him. What? And I was like, oh, okay. But then it happened a few times. Actually, Joey Eastman saw this going on. He came over and, to my rescue or whatever, tried to get me away from him, and the guy still held on and still dragged me back. So Joey just picked me up. Like, he wasn't going to, he didn't feel like watching this guy, play tug of war with me, so he just picked me up and started to take me away, and the guy still had onto my arm. And I think actually Rachel saw this too, and Rachel had to come over, and they both carried me away. He was just a little too enthusiastic. He wouldn't let go. So a lot of my ninja ability is just avoiding that scenario. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's bigger than me, and a place like that, everybody's having such a good time. A lot of people are a little inebriated, you know what I mean? Somebody's got to be looking out for the tiny one, So Rachel will always have her eye on me or whatever, but I find I feel like it's a skill to escape rather quickly without anyone even noticing.
Indeed so. Well, let's finish up then just by reminding people that this weekend's the American Joshi Queen of Queens tournament in Live Oak, Texas. Now, Lady Poison's the current American Joshi ladies champion down there, but at the minute at least, not booked on the show. What's up with that?
Me personally, my thoughts about, who like they've announced some people, they've announced some rounds, and this is how I feel. Last time I went to a Joshi tournament, I was going to do one thing, and something totally different happened. So I'm just going to bring, my shoes, even though as of this moment, I've not been announced to be on this tournament, and I don't know that I am. But that's not to say that it could change tomorrow or even 5 minutes before the show starts. So I'm just going to bring my shoes and, cross my fingers and hope for the best, I guess. I know that whatever is going to happen, I'm sure it'll be phenomenally entertaining and fantastic. There's certainly a collection of really talented girls who are going to be there. And so far, every year, the tournament has surprised us all with something or another. So I'm sure whatever is going to happen, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it all unfold. Like you said last year, I wasn't even supposed to be there. I wasn't even supposed to be in the tournament. I ended up wrestling Sarah Del Rey, Daffney, and then, and then all that happened, all the craziness, because sometimes it does. But I will say, though, that the crowd seemed to really be, I do remember once the music played, that the crowd were all on their feet. They were really, really looking forward to seeing this matchup, and they really thought it was deserved that Portia would show up and not have, Jessica, who she'd been, trying to sabotage all night, but to have Lady Poison instead as who she'd have to face in that final round. So I don't know what's going to be going on. I don't know what kind of surprises are going to happen. I'm just positive that something will be happening that will be awesome and everyone will love it. Whatever it happens to be, whatever it turns out to be.
All right. Well, Jessica, thank you very much for that. And what we're going to do now, everybody, is we're going to move from eggs to bacon, and we're going to magically disappear for a second, and we'll be back with Rachel Summerlyn.
Thank you guys for having me.
It's our pleasure, and the main reason we have you on specifically this week is because this weekend is a massive show for yourselves as you present the 3rd annual American Joshi Queen of Queens tournaments.
Yes, it is. It's a big time here in Texas for ACW, Anarchy Championship Wrestling, where we have the best women talent from all over the country come to Texas to showcase what they can do and to give Texas a little bit of American Joshi style and really showcase the women on this special show.
This year seems to be a little bit different to the first 2 years, and the fact that in the first 2 years you had lots of sort of well-established names like Sarah Del Rey and Daisy Hayes and Mischief and Daffney taking part. This year seems to be a little bit different, and you've got more sort of wrestlers who are making their names, like your Christina Von Eerie's and your Amanda Fox's.
Yes, that's actually a big thing that we wanted to do. We wanted to showcase new up-and-coming women's talent here in Texas, something that, ACW audience has seen the Sarah Del Rey, seen Daffney, who was our original Joshi, seen Daisy Hayes, who won it in the previous years, and Portia Perez. So this year we really wanted to showcase the up-and-coming talents like the Mia Yims, the Amanda Foxes, Lillie Mae even, who's making her American Joshi Queen of Queens debut. And even Serena Deeb, who has only been in ACW once, Christina Von Eerie, and even Daffney is coming back and making a special appearance. So we really wanted to showcase the young up-and-coming talent to not only our audience, but everyone else who purchases the DVDs from all over the world.
I guess there'll be a lot of people who will buy the American Joshi Queen of Queens tournament DVD specifically because it is an all-women show that wouldn't necessarily follow the rest of the Anarchy DVD series. As far as that's concerned, there are going to be people then like Amanda Fox and like Lillie Mae that people won't necessarily know that well. Let's just talk about them briefly for people who don't know who they are. Start with Amanda Fox. What do people need to know about Amanda Fox?
People who, that's definitely, the American Joshi DVD, the tournament is definitely the ACW highest selling DVD of the year, which is kind of, I understand completely, but ACW is very storyline based, so you really need to follow a lot of the, it chronicles a lot of stuff storyline-wise, so you need to kind of follow and see why we have Serena Deeb versus Amanda Fox in the first round, because Amanda Fox, you check out the December 2010 DVD from ACW, Delusions of Our Childish Days. There was a main event, a 6-woman main event with myself, Jessica, and Serena Deeb against Amanda Fox, Portia Perez, and Athena. Serena was making her ACW debut. Amanda Fox pinned Serena Deeb with an O'Connor roll and has therefore been touting all over anywhere she can, put out that she's pinned Serena Deeb, former WWE diva Serena Deeb, in her ACW debut. So Amanda Fox, being the youngest graduate of Booker T's school from Houston, being having collegiate wrestling experience, has a lot on her plate, has a lot to prove to the world audience, really, with this Queen of Queens debut. And Amanda Fox is very special. Amanda Fox is very technical. She's very aggressive, very young. So she's got a lot. She's got so much to do in her young career. And to face Serena Deeb is quite an achievement, I would say.
Yeah, big opportunity. And, I think, is that the only match so far that's been announced from the first round?
It's that and then myself versus Christina Von Eerie, which is a first-time matchup. Indeed,
and Christina made quite an impact at the last set of Shimmer tapings as well. Got over really big. Was it her performance there that kind of got her into Anarchy then as well?
Kind of. I was actually looking at Christina Von Eerie. Christina Von Eerie has a very different look to her. Her look alone seems to fit into the world of Anarchy pretty well, if I say so. So we had kind of been keeping an eye on her, and then seeing her performance at Shimmer, I really, was really like, hey, you want to come down? Let's do this. I really think it's a good opportunity for her to get out more, wrestle other places. She's never been in Texas. This is her Texas debut, so that's a pretty big deal in itself as well.
Mm-hmm. What about Lillie May? Lillie May seems to be a name which maybe people who sort of follow women's wrestling may not have heard that much about. Tell us a bit about Lillie May.
Lillie May is a good old country girl from Moody, Texas, and Lillie has improved leaps and bounds from when she first started working with Anarchy Championship Wrestling, and she's really focused more on her wrestling lately, and her wrestling has really impressed a lot of people, not just myself, not just, the people who work with her, but also a lot of fans who are seeing her for the first time. So Lillie May coming back to ACW and impressing us with the amount of wrestling, like how much her wrestling has grown, really earned her a spot in the Joshi tournament. So I'm really interested to see who she goes against in the first round and to see how her newfound confidence in her wrestling will go. Because if you actually YouTube on an Anarchy televised match, her versus Amanda Fox is a great display of both of their talents.
And the great thing is about ACW, and you mentioned about Amanda Fox pinning Serena Deeb. There was last year's tournament where Jessica James managed to make Sarah Del Rey tap out. ACW isn't a place where you should say, right, this is definitely what's going to happen, because there are upsets everywhere.
Absolutely, you never know what can happen. Jessica, like you said, Jessica James made Sarah Del Rey, the Queen of Wrestling, tap out, and then went on to beat Daffney. And then, all that crazy stuff with Lady Poison and Portia happened. And it's very unexpected. I definitely think someone like Jessica James, despite her size, is one of the top women out there. And I don't think you should just judge a book by its cover.
Well, we decided on our Facebook page to run a bit of a poll about who we thought would win the American Joshi Queen of Queens tournament this year. So we put down all 8 participants, 7 participants, and the as yet unnamed participant number 8. And as it turns out, our Facebook fans think that it's going to be Christina Von Eerie who is going to be the winner.
Very nice.
So
you never know. What a way to make an impact in ACW, right? To come in your first time and win the Queen of Queens.
Absolutely. I think this. I think it shows just what kind of impression she's made with other people as well, and the fact that she hasn't been in ACW, and yet people are expecting or hoping that she takes the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I think that's a good sign for her. And hopefully, even after who knows, maybe she will win. Like, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. And so if she does win, that'll definitely guarantee some return appearances, I'm sure.
By the way, you came third.
I came third?
Yes.
Who was second?
Serena.
Oh, nice. Sweet. As long as Athena didn't beat me, I'm good.
No. Athena did not beat you.
Good.
As far as the unnamed 8th participant, because we actually had it down as that in the poll, when's that unnamed 8th participant going to be named? Is it going to be on the day?
I'm not exactly sure when that person will be named. I mean, I really don't know when it'll be announced, when people will know. I'm not sure. Hopefully it should be announced this week. If all goes well.
Why don't you give us an exclusive?
Give you an exclusive?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can. No, I totally can. Well, yeah, I guess it's probably, it's, it is. It's,
The tension's killing me.
It's a surprise, though. Maybe it's a surprise. I don't know.
Oh, we were so close.
You guys are so close to an exclusive. So close.
Oh, man. Okay, drat. I guess we'll just have to watch on Sunday. Well, with that, let's go back to, track back to the very start of your career. It was definitely a baptism of fire, let's say the least.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Queen of Death matches 2006.
Literal fire?
Not literal fire, but not far off. Yeah.
No, it's a baptism of thumbtacks instead.
Yeah.
Thumbtacks and broken glass is what it was.
Oh, God. Okay. It was the 2006 Queen of the Death Matches tournament. It was you going in there. You in a thumbtack death match against Vanessa Craven. Please explain to us how that all came about. It got to the point where you said, "Yes, I would like my debut match to be involving thumbtacks."
It was actually weird because I was traveling at the time with Darren Childs and Jacob Ladder, who were doing the Double Death tournament. I believe it was the night after that. And so I had been training a little bit here and there. I had been valeting them. I had been doing little stuff. And so, Ian didn't have, not all the girls showed up. I'm sure that's shocking to a lot of people. And it just happens. And I just was like, well, I'm there. I might as well just try to wrestle. Why not, right? I don't know.
Why not?
Honestly, though, if you look back at it, what other way would I have gone about getting my name out there as quickly as I did? People knew who I was. As much as it kind of pigeonholed me for a little bit, oh, she's a deathmatch girl. It pigeonholed me for a little bit, but at the same time, it got my name out there quicker than it would have just doing regular wrestling matches, which is a kind of a bad way of looking at it, but that's the positive I take out of it. I take the positive that I learned, it's baptism by fire, and what other way are you going to learn other than getting in there and doing it?
Yes. Speaking of getting your name out there, I think we just probably have to touch on the name that you used as well.
Yes, Rachel Putski.
Yeah, is it the only time that you've gone out as Rachel Putski?
No, for a while there, I was wrestling as Rachel Putski. Ivan Putski's my grandfather. Scott Putski's my uncle. So there is biological, blood relation there. So it was just kind of I didn't think of anything else, so here we go. Let's just use this for a little bit. And then I kind of came into my own and found my own self and became Rachel Summerlyn, really.
I think we're all used to the name of Rachel Summerlyn now, and no one really thinks twice about it. But, considering that you have got a name that's, associated with a former WWF world champion and so on, why wouldn't you have kept doing that? Did you think that it was too much pressure to live up to, or, what was the reason?
No, I strictly just wanted to make a name for myself. I didn't want anyone looking at me and expecting the Polish power Ivan Putski. I wanted people to expect Rachel Summerlyn and expect what I do instead of expecting what he did.
Okay. And I mean, as far as that debut in the Queen of the Death Matches tournament, was there any point where you sort of thought, I've made a massive mistake here, what am I doing?
Absolutely not.
Not even when you were sitting opposite Mickey Knuckles and you guys were bashing each other in the head with broken glass?
Nope, not at all, because at that moment I knew what I was doing was very important. That first Queen of the Death match was something really important, something really special. I felt it was something that had never been done in the States. And to be a part of that was pretty incredible. I mean, you have to think people like Lufisto was in it, Mickey Knuckles, who was at the time very, very popular in that area of wrestling. And so for me to actually be in there and to push Mickey Knuckles to the limit that I pushed her to in my second match ever, I feel was pretty impressive, and I felt very proud of that performance.
And you would have worked Mickey then, quite a number of times through the years then, as you sort of both progressed. Would you say she was quite important in the progression of you as a wrestler?
I do. I absolutely think Mickey Knuckles was important to the beginning of my career, and then right after her would definitely be Daffney. Daffney really took me under her wing then after Mickey Knuckles showed me kind of the basics.
Well, speaking of Mickey Knuckles, I mean, we'll get to Daffney a little bit later down the road, but speaking of Mickey Knuckles, it was you and her in the first women's match in ACW at the start of 2007.
Yes.
And tell us a bit about that, because I guess you're trying to start something new, and you're trying to forge something ahead and make a start with it. And what were your expectations going into that? Did you think there was going to be a full women's division in ACW at that point, or was this just a case of let's see how this flies?
Well, I mean, there was definitely a want for a full women's division in ACW, so it was the start of it. I mean, if you look at that, and then that match really, I mean, that match was, it wasn't the typical women's match you would have seen in Texas at that time. Mickey and I were very much brawlers and fighters and so bringing that kind of match to Texas, to where Texas was used to seeing the, just typical girls match where it was, okay, yay, girls match, woo! But to where we would fight all over the place, the crowd was into it. I mean, we definitely brought something different, and it made people want to see a women's division more. I mean, if that was the first taste of it, just imagine and you can see what it spawned into now.
For anybody who's interested in seeing it, it is available on ringbellsonline.com, and don't be fooled, Rachel does have red hair in the match.
I do.
Oh, disappointment.
I know, I liked my red hair, but I'm just a blonde. I just am.
You are a blonde, that's the thing. I can't imagine Rachel Summerlyn being anything other than blonde.
Exactly, right? That's exactly how everyone else put it, too. They're like, you're just a blonde, deal with it.
I mean, I don't mean to get into the whole America's Next Top Model kind of thing with you, but yeah.
No, it's totally okay.
I'm a guy, I can't do this. Stu, please, rescue me from this. I'm going down the
It's totally okay, I really have no problem. So, yeah, whatever.
It's okay, I'll bring it back. Let's talk about then that development of that division. I mean, what was there as far as women's wrestlers in Texas at that time? I mean, obviously Mickey was coming down from sort of Indiana type area from Mid-South. Who else was there down there at the time that you could help build a division around?
That's a great question. That was the thing, there weren't many girls around there that, people felt comfortable putting me in the ring with, as I was still learning at that point.
Right.
So there was definitely more people having to be brought in, like Mickey Knuckles was brought in, and Daffney, of course, and then so on and so forth. There weren't many girls. I mean, I was wrestling mostly guys at that point. I wrestled guys, and that's why I think my style is the way it is, because I'm just a wrestler. I'm not a chick. I'm a wrestler first and foremost.
Yeah, I mean, you've sort of always had that kind of tagline as like the strong style diva, and I guess as much of that is just because you've been so used to chucking around and being chucked around by the guys as much as anything else.
Yeah, I mean, that was just how it was. That was just how I was trained. That's who I wrestled with.
Let's talk about Daffney then, because you said she was one of the other people that was brought in at the time to work with you, and she was a veteran by that point, and I know that you've got a lot of respect and love for her. You guys essentially worked a whole feud over this in Shimmer, but I mean, talk to us about Daffney and what she did for you as a performer.
Yeah, the feud between Daffney and I originally started in ACW. I mean, we fought until 2009. We feuded until 2009, I believe. And it was just a constant back and forth student-teacher relationship. She really took me and molded me into a women's wrestler, because before her, like I said, I was wrestling a bunch of dudes, and it is different when you're wrestling girls. It is. It's completely different. Different types of matches and whatnot. So she really showed me the ropes. She showed me just, how to be a girl, essentially, in wrestling. And, I mean, I've learned so much from her, and she's so important to me in so many ways, and in wrestling, personally, and just in everything. I can't express, really, how important she is to me and what she's done for me and what she means to me.
I'm going to ask a question that's really vague. It's really open. So probably it's such an open one that you might have difficulty thinking of something. But is there one thing that she taught you that stuck with you more than anything else? Is there one bit of wisdom that she had that's forever just sort of lodged in your brain and made you who you are?
Oh man, just to be kind to people, and just her personality and her positivity and her attitude and her outlook towards life and everything in general, she really kind of transferred on to me, I think. Just to keep an open mind and to just be nice and spread love and happiness and kindness and just, be happy with what you do.
What's it going to be like to welcome her back to ACW on Sunday? Because, she's been going through some rough times at the moment. There's a whole TNA thing that's been going on as well. And what's it going to be like to be able to just, be face-to-face with each other again?
I'm so happy to see her. It's going to be good to, kind of welcome her home, so to speak, because the crowd here loves her. I mean, she's been here since 2007, ultimately, and the crowd here in San Antonio, just in ACW in general, just loves Daffney. And the fact that last year at the tournament, she beat me and won the American Joshi title from me. And that was her first women's championship. That was her first and only women's championship she ever won. So that, I know, definitely holds a special place in her heart also. So she loves coming here, and we love having her here.
You mentioned about how, one of her big things was just about, being nice to people and spreading happiness and so on. And I think that's probably one of the things that's particularly sort of you're well known for now, is your sort of wackiness and the fun and frolics that you have along with Jessica James, with your excellent tag team. How did Jessica James come into your life?
Jessica James, I had heard about her in Texas. She was wrestling for Booker T's school, training there, and so heard great things about her. We were like, oh, let's have her over in ACW. And Jessica and I have only wrestled each other once, ever. We only wrestled once, and that was her debut match here, which she won. She beat me. And then so, we went about our separate ways, and then in October of 2009, October 2009, Porsche Perez, Nicole Matthews, were down here, and we had the Shimmer Tag Team title opportunity. So Jessica and I ended up teaming up for the very first time on the Halloween show, and then Hints came out dressed as bacon and eggs, which is now, as everyone has seen, taken over the world, clearly. So Jessica just came about. I mean, Jessica and I just get along so well. We're best friends. Like, we just talk to each other. We get each other. She compliments my wackiness. I compliment her wackiness. And at the same time, we can both be serious and both get down to business and are both really skilled athletes. And I think we bring both styles to the table, as to where she's the high-flying little, can crawl out of small places. And I'm the big powerhouse that can, knock your face off, apparently. And so Jessica and I Jessica's ultimately the eggs to my bacon. Absolutely.
Aww.
Are you just going? Are you just going all because someone mentioned bacon?
Partly, yeah, but I felt that story needed a bit of an R as well. But now you mentioned
it did. I'm the bacon. She was dressed as eggs. I was bacon. So yeah.
Sorry, my brain's stuck on bacon. I feel I'm hungry all of a sudden. My mouth's just filled up with saliva.
It's all right. Bacon's incredible.
Not your bacon.
Mhm.
Well, American bacon's different to British bacon. British bacon's awesome. American bacon, yeah, not so much.
I eat turkey bacon. This physique.
Okay.
Check.
Yeah. It's better for you. But seeing as we've touched on the physique as well, it's something that we wanted to ask about as well, because your look has changed over the years quite a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, I know this is a very sensitive subject for a guy to mention to a girl, because usually he'll get his face pulled off.
Be careful.
Seeing as we're talking over a phone line, I think I'm safe for now.
Oh yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that. Is there any sort of some, I don't know, catalyst or anything like that where you just thought, well, I want to change myself a little bit?
Yeah, I was really, when I first started wrestling, I was really focused on getting better in wrestling. Once I felt comfortable at that point in my wrestling career, I felt that, well, what's the next step is obviously to look better and to take care of myself better. So I ultimately wanted to get in better shape for people to take me more seriously, to compliment the better that I became at wrestling. So, it's basically one of those things where it's like, oh, it's the next step. All right, let's get in shape.
Roughly when was that?
It's kind of taken over my life, though.
How much? How much has it taken over your life? Give us an example.
I'm at the gym right now.
Okay,
I wake up and I wake up, I go to the gym, I take care, I watch what I eat. It's just, I don't know, but it's just become a way of life instead of, well, I'm on a crash diet for so long, blah, blah, blah. No, I've just changed my whole life. I eat better, I work out, I feel better.
Right, well, I'm going to go all the way down this line of questioning then. Tell us, if I'm going to ask for numbers now, tell us what you were at, tell us what you are at, and tell us, what your target is.
I was at 200 pounds. I've lost, I don't know, I think like 40, 50 pounds.
Sweet.
But I can't, it's always so weird because you have the muscle growth and I have abs now, which is really awesome. That's ultimately all I cared about. I always thought as a kid, I'll never have abs. No, I got abs. That's pretty awesome. I'm pumped about that. And that was pretty much my goal. I don't know. I don't really have an ultimate goal, but I just, you can always tell when the clothes are fitting looser and you're buying smaller clothes and everything like that.
Well, you got Polish heritage there. It's quite difficult to. I know Polish girls and
yeah,
they are curvy girls. They just are naturally curvy girls.
Mhm. I love my body. I love the way I look. I'm perfectly fine with I know I'll never be a stick figure, and I'm totally cool with that, and I have no problem accepting that. That is great to me. I like my hips and my little waist, and I'm absolutely proud of that. And, but yeah, like you said, I'm Polish, so I've got a lot of Adonis DNA running through me. And I've, a lot of it is my genetics, too. That's helped me a lot in my overall makeover, I guess you could say.
To the point now where it's becoming more and more like, I've said this comparison quite a few times, but you are looking so much like Penny from The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, that's awesome. I love Penny and I love The Big Bang Theory.
Seriously, we need somebody just to do a knock, knock, knock Rachel gimmick.
I love it. I'm pumped.
This has to happen.
That.
This has to happen in life at some point.
Absolutely.
Speaking of getting into sort of phenomenal condition and dropping some dress sizes and so on, that brings me nicely onto ACW's recent prom night.
Oh yeah, that was so awesome.
The show was called Nothing Is As Real As a Dream, and it was based on a prom night gimmick where you got the fans involved, the wrestlers, everybody came along dressed up. Tell us about how, because that all seemed to sort of grow up organically. So tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, we originally had the evening gown match announced and booked, which that in itself was a pretty big deal with having, myself, Athena, Amanda Fox, Jessica James, Portia, and ultimately Sarah Del Rey in an evening gown match. I mean, that's like some weird bizarro world. Like, whoever thought you would see that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so we all decided to do that, and then we were all just talking, and it was like, well, it is prom season. We're having an evening gown match. Let's go ahead and have, a prom-themed show. What's the worst that can happen? People just don't get into it. People don't have a good time. Like, people don't show up. Okay, well, we know for next year not to do it again. But it turned into something that I'm pretty sure is going to happen annually now. I mean, it was a blast. We decorated the Mohawk here in Austin. We had cake set out. We had punch set out. Fans were dressed up. We had prom and queen voting. I mean, it was incredible. It was just so much more than we could ask for. And I'm really thrilled that so many people had a good time. And I can't wait for the world to see the prom DVD because everyone dressed up. Everyone just had a blast. I mean, it was a prom. It was ultimately a wrestling prom. And I had so many people come up to me and be like, this was the first prom I've ever been to. I missed my high school prom. So to give people that experience also was great.
It says something for the loyalty of your fans as well, that they will really get into it and take it into their hearts the way that you were hoping that they'd take it into their hearts.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things I love about the ACW fan base is that they basically put all their trust into us to know that we're not going to lead them astray and everything that we give them is going to be what they want to see. Yes, you think ultimately you're like a prom-themed show. Yeah, that sounds very hokey, but it wasn't at all. I mean, it was the evening gown match was incredible. It's one of my favorite matches to have been a part of. And then everything else after that and before that was, the whole show, I was just actually watching some of the edited footage. And the whole show you have that feel watching it. You're like, this was something special. This was fun.
That's actually a good point because, Anarchy Championship Wrestling seems to be one of those promotions who've really embraced that whole thing, a bit like Chikara as well, where, I'm not necessarily saying it's all tongue-in-cheek, but there's a real understanding that wrestling should be fun and it doesn't need to be dreary and dull. Is that basically what the ACW mantra is, just to be fun?
Exactly, yeah, for the most part. We're all here to have fun. You're there to watch. You're there to enjoy yourself and have a good time. No, everyone's there to kind of escape the reality of the world and just enjoy themselves for, well, that night it was a good 6-hour show. So to enjoy yourself for however long you're there. But you know what? That's the thing. A 6-hour show and everybody stayed until the very last match, until it was over.
That says a lot.
So, and that exactly, that says a lot to about the fans who trust in us, who trust in ACW, to sit through that and just have an incredible time. Like, we're going to take you on a ride and you're going to enjoy it.
And by comparison then, just to sort of prove that the two sort of sides of Anarchy Championship Wrestling is that you can have your prom theme night, you can have your fun, but at the same time, in January this year, you and Athena were involved in a 10,000 thumbtacks match. So, that was a bit of a return to your debut with all the thumbtacks. How was it this time around?
Oh, man. January, guilty by association for Anarchy Championship Wrestling is our WrestleMania. Absolutely. That is where all the big blow-offs happen, all the storylines kind of come to an end, And that night was incredible. On the DVD cover is like the Black Album. and it says it's just like the most violent show in ACW history, and it really was. The show started off with a no-rope barbed wire cinder block match, which basically led into my thumbtack match, which led into an I Quit match, last man standing match, and then, there was just so much stuff at the end of the night. Robert Evans almost got set on fire by Matthew Palmer before he said I quit. That's how crazy it was. And so to kind of be taken back to my roots of the thumbtack and that kind of stuff was insanely thrilling and so much fun, and yet it had its scary moments at the same time.
Sure it did. Yeah,
I got knocked out pretty bad, actually, catching Athena on a dive to the outside. From what I was told, I crushed a beer bottle with my skull.
Oh, what?
Yeah. I was out for a while, and I had a very nice lump on my head. I believe that night it was a baseball size knot.
Oh, I saw a picture of that.
Yeah.
Oh, man, yeah, I remember that. Oh.
Yeah, it was rough. John Hyperion was out there, and he got to feel it, so it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's the first thing I'd want to do if I saw somebody with a bump the size of a baseball on their head. Just give it a quick poke.
And, in all fairness, I think I made him. I was like, here, feel this baseball-sized knot on my head.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know where to go with that.
Yeah, it's all right.
Oh, well, I wanted to skip back to something that I wanted to ask. It's sort of like an unanswered question from years gone by. You won the Volcano Girls 2 tournament way back in the day with IWA Mid-South. It was in 2008.
Yes.
And with that, you were supposed to gain an IWA Mid-South women's title match, yeah?
Was I? I guess that was the whole thing, right?
It's been 3 years.
And I still haven't collected that IWA Mid-South women's title shot, have I?
I know there's been patient and everything.
Well, I think Stacey Hayes was the champion last, correct? Exactly, yeah. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, I'm still waiting to collect that. But it's okay. I think I've swept that under the rug. I'm good.
Oh, maybe one day. But 2008 was also the year that you debuted in Shimmer.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to be sort of very honest with you in a moment. But I just wanted to ask you about your first night there. What was it like for you?
It was one of those surreal moments because as I really got into women's wrestling, I started watching, of course you watch Shimmer. I mean, what else? It's women's wrestling.
Mm.
So you watch it, and so when I got there the first night, it was cool. I mean, I was there with a bunch of my friends, and I got to face Kong my very first match, which that's something that's kind of like, all right. It's very intimidating, but very awesome at the same time. Haha, pun intended. And so it was cool. It was really neat.
Well, the reason why I wanted to ask you about that is because, as part of our website, we always promise to be honest. And I feel I should be honest with you right now, because my first impression of you wasn't good.
I know.
Yeah, and it's like, I wrote about it and it says, I wasn't keen at all, and I didn't really get it, and I didn't really see you. But, here, I'm going to swing this round and turn the frown upside down. It's now got to the point now where I see you on shows where, I'm looking forward to having you on those shows, and I enjoy watching you, and I think you're a great personality, and you throw emotion into matches, which is something that a lot of wrestlers don't really do, and you can get emotion into matches, of which we've got an example coming up as well. But I just wanted to say that it's quite amazing how you can change your opinion on someone, do a complete 180 on them, and you've managed to do that with me. So I think that's something that you really deserve credit for in my eyes. I know it's just one man's opinion, but at the same time, I was really impressed how you forced me to change my opinion of you.
Well, thank you. I mean, we all grow and we all change and we all evolve. So you can't really, like I said, it's one of those things you can't really ever judge a book by its cover because you don't know the circumstances that the person was in that first showing either, you know. There was a ton of nerves and just uncomfortability by being in a place that you watched and facing someone who is a national TV star at that time, and then just being unsure if you belong there yet, and then become comfortable, you become better, and you evolve, and you work on stuff, and then I think it's important if you can change people's minds. Emotions thing is something I'm really proud about with my wrestling, that I can, that if you said that, you know, I can make you feel emotions through my wrestling, like, that's great. I mean, ultimately, that's what you want to do.
Well, there was I think one of the key examples of a bit where you could really sort of feel for you was, I think, that first sort of almost match that you had with Daffney and Shimmer, where it just ended up really being just sort of a roll around fight. But then you just sort of sat there on the mat, just with this look of confusion on your face, saying, "I have no idea what's going on. I don't get it, and I don't know what to do." And you know, my heart broke for you.
Yeah. It was, I mean, at that time it was confusion because I thought we had set all of our stuff up, you know, in Texas. I thought she had my back 100%. And then out of nowhere, she turned on me and attacked me again. And who knows what her motive was, who knows what her reasoning was, but it did. It broke my heart at that time. Someone who I have all this respect for and trusted to be there for me just left me high and dry.
Well, I think you swung a lot of people's opinions over time about you, because I know that there was a period of time in Shimmer where there was always this little pocket of fans who would just boo you no matter what you did, and they don't seem to exist anymore.
Yeah.
What was that like
that's
for
wrestling.
you?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like, I don't know why people, you know, you never know why people boo you or why they cheer you, but some people just have dislike for you, and that's fine. That's their opinion. But until people are able to walk in your shoes and figure out what you're doing, they can have their own opinion. I don't have a problem with that. I don't know. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion and their own thoughts on things. It is what it is. But you know, if I've won them over, I think I'm doing all right then.
So what's next for Rachel Summerlyn after this weekend, after the Queen of Queens? What's
after
next?
I win the Queen of Queens?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you are third favorite.
I am the third favorite, followed by behind Serena Deeb and Christina Von Eerie.
Yeah, but as far as future plans are concerned, I mean, as far as ACW is concerned, you talked about how the Queen of Queens is now a pretty big seller. It's a big annual event. The prom thing's going to be an annual event. Are you looking at anything past ACW? I mean, what plans or what dreams have you got to fulfill in the next year or two?
I mean, I'm really this next year I'm really pushing myself to the limit, just trying to get my name out there more. I want to go overseas. I want to see the world. I really do. I want to do a lot. I want to go to Japan, obviously. I want to get out more. I want more people to know who Rachel Summerlyn is, more people to know who ACW is, and I think that's definitely a huge possibility, especially with ACW expanding to St. Louis area. I really think this year is going to be quite incredible for myself as well.
What was it that, just when you mentioned that, actually, I mean, how did ACW get to expand to St. Louis as far as another city to work?
Well, we have a crew of guys who come down every month, every show from St. Louis. They drive down. The submission squad of Pierre Abernathy, Evan Gillestico, Gary J, and Davey Vega now, they drive down every show, and they actually ran a company up there called LWA, so after being, after working for them a few times and seeing their kind of talent roster and seeing how everything went, it really showed that ACW could help put their name on it and become and expand and definitely kind of take over that area, take over the Midwest with the ACW brand.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. Well, let's finish up then with a final plug for this weekend show. It's Sunday afternoon, June 26th, at Hooligans, I believe, in Live Oak, Texas.
Yes.
I've got here doors 3:15 and pre-show matches start at 4 o'clock. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. And the thing with, it's billed as a women's tournament, but there's men's matches on there. Clearly we push very hard in ACW that there's no gender discretion, like women and men are all the same. So it's not just going to be strictly a female show. It's going to be men also. We're very equal opportunists here. So yes, the women are showcased, but there are plenty of men matches also.
Excellent. All right then. Well, if you're able to get there, please do. If